Okay.
Thank you for being here tonight. Tonight we will have the last lesson of the first module with, and tonight we have Lucia Pizzuti with the humanitarian corridors, legal pathway towards and into EU. Thank you, Lucia, for being here tonight. And yeah, the floor is yours. And of course, you can make your presentation.
Okay, thank you, Agnesa. My name is Lucia Pizzuti. I'm here today as I've been collaborating since 2019 with Migrantsoni Miteinander. I know that you already met Carla from the association. I've done for them legal consultancy to people interested in participate in Move Europe program. I'm a lawyer here in Italy, but I work as legal consultant for international organization and local organization. I'm also member of ASGI, is the Italian Association for Legal Studies on Migration Law. So the subject of today's meeting is a humanitarian corridor. Okay, this is the agenda of today. So before getting to the heart of the topic, we will do a brief review on the legal ways to enter Europe. And finally, I will offer you a case study that I have personally followed. The term humanitarian corridor refers, at least in Italy in recent year, to those projects authorized by the states and conducted by non-governmental organization or by the UNHCR, by which it has been and still has possible to ensure authorized entry, I mean by an entry visa, into Italy to foreign nationals fleeing their country of origin or their country of residence. They represent a humanitarian means to provide help to actually a small group of people. They are a project promoted mostly by religious bodies, Catholic or Protestant, and based on agreement with the government. The pilot project was the one signed in December 2015 by the Federation of Evangelical Churches, the Tavola Valdese, and the community of Sant'Egidio, in agreement with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Internal Affairs. This project had the aim of helping 1,000 Syrian refugees in Lebanon to reach safely Italy between 2017 and 2017. I want still to tell you that the project has been jump back, an example for a similar initiative across the EU countries. For example, in France, as in Italy, was signed an agreement between the Protestant churches and the government to help Syrian refugees to reach France. Among the project goals, the most important, one of the project goals is to avoid the tragedy on the sea or at the border, EU border, to counter the business of criminal organization and human traffickers, and to grant help to people in a vulnerable condition, to grant these people the possibility to legal entry Italy. But as just mentioned, the prerequisite for entry through humanitarian corridor channel is a visa, which make entry legal. maybe this could be a little bit boring for some of you, but I want to be sure that all of you know that an entry visa is the document required for a non-EU citizen to legally enter the territory of Italian state and European Union in general. A visa is always required for stays of more than 19 days, while for stays in Italy of less than 19 days for reasons of tourism, business, mission, invitation, sports, the need or not of the visa depends on the state of origin. The visa must be applied for at the Italian diplomatic or consular authorities in the country of origin or residence. So, which are the type we have of visa? There are 3 types of visa. The uniform Schengen visa, valid for the territory of Schengen area, visa with limited territorial validity, that is valid only on the Schengen state whose representation issued the visa, without possibility of access and even of transit in other EU country, and long stay or a national visa. There are visa for a lot of reasons: business, medical treatment, diplomatic reasons, family reunification, sport competition, invitation, or employment, tourism. And talking about humanitarian corridor, the visa issued for humanitarian corridors is the humanitarian visa. So the legal basis for this initiative is provided by the Article 25 of the Visa Code, which grants Schengen country the possibility of issuing humanitarian visa valid for their territory. So is a visa with limited territorial validity. Is this one, the second one. So people who reach Italy with this humanitarian channel has this type of visa. Once they enter Italy, they can apply for international protection. So talking about humanitarian corridor, as I already said, the pilot project was that one from Lebanon in 2015. Others followed in the later years. In 2019 was signed an agreement between the Italian state and the community of Sant'Egidio and the Italian Episcopal Conference, which allows the arrival of 600 vulnerable people from Ethiopia. Still in 2019, UNHCR launched UNICORE, University Corridors, to allow refugee students from a lot of countries in Africa to arrive in Italy with a regular and safe entry with the visa to continue their study here. Since 2019, we are at the 4th edition of this project, and 142 students are arrived in Italy through this channel. In 2021, in April, an agreement was signed for the entry of 500 people from Libya, with agreement of the Italian government, CEI, Tavola Valdese, Comunità di Sant'Egidio, and UNHCR. UNHCR is part of the agreement, and its task is to identify and select people among those recognized as refugees or in need of international protection, registered with the UNHCR office in Libya. How this project works? UNHCR, in the case of the corridor from Libya, or promoting the other promoting organization, decide who can participate in the program. So beneficiaries are referred by a network of collaborators to the promoting organization, and referrals can also be made for example, for a family member of people already arrived in Italy from Italy. On the field, they drew up a list of potential beneficiaries, and generally vulnerability and poor health condition are deciding factor in choosing. So they prepare this list, and that is sent to the Italian consular authorities for visa assessment, and before the Ministry of Interior make a security check on the potential beneficiaries. So once that everything is ready, the consular authority issue the visa, and they can leave and reach Italy, where the promoting organization take care of them. So they arrive, and they are guests from this organization, and they are supported on legal issue, health issue, employment, and school, anything that could help them in achieve their autonomy, because this is one of is the aim of this project, to help them once they are here in Italy to live outside of the project, to achieve an autonomy. Unfortunately, unlike the regular reception project of the Italian government, this project haven't a deadline, so it's sometimes not so easy to encourage people to live independently, and this is a critical point of the project, because they after some year they get used and live in a house that someone else paid for them, and to live with the support of social worker, and it's not so easy for them to go to live on their own. And talking about critical point, sorry, this is the slide. Talking about critical point, these are two others points that are, as I said, critical. Humanitarian corridors are undoubtedly a great opportunity for safe travel and legal entry, but are limited to a very small number of people comparing to all the people that wanted to reach Italy, and the selection criteria are not public. As I said, vulnerability and health condition could be an element, but the agreement are not public, and the selection process is not transparent. Another point is that in the last year, a number of urgent requests for the issuance of entry visa for humanitarian reason were submitted to the civil court in Rome, and the court ruled that the issuance of a visa is not possible in individual case, but only within the framework of humanitarian corridor. And this is not so good, because the problem is that humanitarian corridor are an instruments created by civil society organization, and and as I said, the selection is not transparent. So the criteria to grant humanitarian visa could be not the same to grant international protection. So this has been quite an issue in the last years here in Italy. Then I'd like to share with you a case study that I have personally followed working on humanitarian corridors. But before that, I think that to understand the case, we need to do a quick review on the Dublin regulation. I know that you already covered this topic before, so I apologize if you already know anything about it. But I want to be sure that all of you know that, for example, what is the Dublin regulation? I know that maybe if some one of you would like to answer, but maybe it's not so easy. No, I think that is not so easy. Okay, yeah. Yeah. Dublin regulation establish which Dublin member state is responsible for an asylum seeker application. With part of Dublin regulation, 27 EU member state, Ireland, Norway, and Switzerland. And yeah, let's see which are the criteria. I missed one, sorry. Sorry, I missed one page. Yeah, okay, sorry. So the criteria for establish whose member state is responsible. The responsibility run in a hierarchical order from family consideration to recent possession of visa or residence permit in one member state, to whether the application has entered whether the applicant has entered the EU regularly or irregularly. And in the hierarchy, minors are at the first place. If the applicant is a minor, or in particular if is an accompanied child, the responsible Dublin state shall be that where a qualifying family member is. Otherwise, that where the child is lodged is or a family a claim for asylum. This is a big difference with the adults from whom it's not the country where they lodge their asylum application that is responsible, but the country where they first fingerprints are taken. So keep that in mind, because it's really important for our case. So yeah. Family membership, yeah, and then that's already explained to you. These are valid residence document, as I said. Irregular crossing of EU border. As you can see, the regulation lists family unity consideration at the first place in the hierarchy of responsibility criteria, but in practice is a dead letter, because the first country of entry is usually the most widely used criteria. So, and then also on family ties, the Article 16 of the regulation established that, I want to read it with you because it's really important. If an applicant is, because of his pregnancy, newborn child, serious illness, severe disability, dependent on the assistance of his her child, siblings or parent, legally resident in one member state, or the other way around, member states shall keep or bring together this person. Additional requirements are the tie already exists in the country of origin, the child, sibling or parent, or the applicant is able to take care of the dependent person. The person concerned expressed their desire in writing. So the norm strengthens the protection of the family, even when the family member article that we have read before would lead to a separation of the family. As you can see, siblings are also included. Then, as last criterion, there is the discretionary clause. Each member state may decide to examine an application for international protection lodged with it by a third country national or stateless person, even if such examination is not his responsibility. So in the end, this is, in the end, as you can see, family consideration, family unity is really important for Dublin regulation, at least in theory. And the discretionary clause could help in some cases to avoid the application of the other criteria. Now, this is our case study. Let's see by some point the main elements of Fatu's story. Fatu is an Eritrean citizen married to an abusive man by whom she had 4 children. The eldest son, Ahmed, at the age of 16, left alone for Libya. In 2017, she was called up for forced labor by the government, but managed to escape to Sudan. And that same year, in May, she reached Libya, of course. Over the next 2 years, Fatu suffered repeated violence and in the meantime knew, through the information collected from other people from Eritrea, that her son Ahmed had reached France. She arrived at Rome airport in November 2021 through humanitarian corridor from Libya. And at the airport, the border police fingerprinted her. She is received in Turin, and there the project asked the police station for an appointment for lodge her asylum application. I have the chance to meet her, and in the legal briefing interview, she tells me of the violence she suffered in Libya. She told me the story of her son. She stated that no one has explained to her that once she arrived in Italy, she would have to stay here. She thought that she states that she thought she could go easily to France. And finally made explicit that her intention from the beginning was to join her son in France. She's in poor health condition. She has diabetes and she was psychologically unstable. She has a lot of difficulty in narrating her story. She cried and then has had the surges of euphoria, yeah. And the narration wasn't fluid. On the day set for lodger application, I made present to the police that she would like to apply for asylum in France and not in Italy, since she has a legal residing child there. The Turin police headquarters forwarded the request to the Dublin unit in Rome, which asked me for a vulnerability assessment. I prepared a report in which I stressed the fragility of Fatu, the serious health condition, report the family doctor's request for a urgent psychiatric examination, and especially I recall that Article 16 that we read before of the Dublin regulation about the dependency relationship with her son, her only link in Europe. So I sent my report, and after 3 months, France responds saying that they would contact the son for clarification, which never happened. As you may probably remember from the lesson on Dublin regulation, after 3 months, when a member state send a request of take charge, if the other states after for 3 months doesn't answer, it's implicitly an acceptation of the request. So France decided to respond within 3 months only to avoid silence, and saying that it would contact the son, but I was in contact with Hamed, and he declared, he said that nobody had contacted him. So in the month that followed, I was in contact with the Italian Dublin unit to urge a response, an answer from France. I sent several reports describing the deteriorating condition in Fatu, but unfortunately nothing happened, and without hope of a reply, she left alone for France in September. And so after that we miss any contact with her. Following this case has been frustrating, as you can imagine. It has exposed both the fragility of the corridor project from Libya and well-known fragility of the Dublin system. With regard to the humanitarian corridors, I asked myself a lot of questions. Had Fatu told anyone before me about having a child in France? Was there really no information on Dublin system in Libya? If people are selected are so vulnerable, ordinary reception program for asylum seeker is not enough. Fatu would have needed psychiatric care since her arrival, and we weren't in the condition to grant her that kind of support. As I said, the lack of cooperation between member states was evident, was clear in this case. Yeah, and thanks. I finished my
If someone has some question. Okay, we have Maya Del Fiore. I will allow her to speak. Hello, Maya.
Hi.
Hi.
I just wanted to ask why the humanitarian corridors is only possible as like state-to-state agreement, and why it's not discussed at the European level as like a new approach. Would you have an answer for that?
Okay, actually no, I have no answer for that. It's the thing is that, as I said, is something that the state Italian organization try to, is a project that the Italian organization try to put to realize, to help some people. Of course, could be better if all the EU member states try to work together on to organize the legal and safe entry in Europe. But as we all unfortunately know, it's not something that the EU member state really want to collaborate on. So I have no answer for this question because, yeah, the thing is that I think that every state, in every state, there are some organizations that would like to help refugees and asylum seekers and try to do their best to help at least some of them. But yeah, to have a completely different scenario, we should work with, not we, but the EU member states should work on a review, for example, of Dublin regulation and on a review of the rule to enter Europe.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But it's just also because with the new pacts on the table right now and the discourse of solidarity, I mean, it's clear that there was no willingness from the Commission to propose something really based on solidarity. But like we're still with this so-called crisis, and it seems that these like humanitarian corridors, although they're kind of flawed sometimes, they also work. So at least here in Italy. So yeah, I was just wondering. Thank you.
Yeah, they work, it's true. But if you compare the number of the humanitarian corridors with the number of people that are at the borders, yeah, it's terrific. It's really nothing, unfortunately. I mean, it's a good project and it's still something, but it's really nothing.
Yeah, I see the difference.
Yeah.
Thank you, Maya. We have two questions in the QA. One is from Abu Bakar, and he said, is the second type of visa still active?
Yeah, the second type was the limited validity, limited territorial validity, right? Yeah, these humanitarian visa are that kind of visa.
So they are still active.
Yeah, they are active. Yeah.
The other question is from Rectus Frank. Is it possible for an unregistered not-profit organization in Northern Cyprus to participate to volunteering service in Italy through the humanitarian corridors?
Is it possible? Can you read it again? The question.
Yeah, is it possible for an unregistered non-profit organization in Northern Cyprus to participate to volunteering service in Italy through the humanitarian corridors?
I'm not that sure to have understood the questions. Participating in volunteering service means?
Probably he means in the corridors, humanitarian corridors. I mean,
yeah, so
for all the organization they participate.
Yeah.
Like Sant'Egidio or
okay, like
if some other non-profit organization, but they works probably in Cyprus, they understand very well, Rick. But if you are online, you can do your question.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I understand very well your question, and so let me check if Rick is online. Yes, he's online. I will allow you, Rick. Do you want to speak?
Hi.
To work with refugees, you mean? Yeah. Rick, you are on the floor. Do you want to speak?
Yeah, hello.
No.
Yeah, my question was, is it possible for organizations in North Cyprus, which are not registered, but work at operational, so like sending members to participate in volunteering service in Italy, like to work with other organizations to help refugees and or to get experience, for example?
Okay, so you are not talking about humanitarian corridor, right? You are asking me if this organization in Cyprus could send people to work as voluntary in Italy, right?
Yeah, or because I thought that humanitarian corridor was also for people doing in humanitarian services or volunteering service.
No, no. Humanitarian corridor are only for channel for refugees that are from specific place. As I show you here. Sorry, these are the projects that are already started. And the last one was from Pakistan, for example. Maybe I forget to tell you about this project. And at the moment, there are only this kind of humanitarian corridor. So if you are a Syrian that is in Lebanon, if you are an Afghan refugee in Pakistan or in Iran, and that's all, because the other projects are still closed. So there are, it's not a channel that's always open. Maybe I didn't express myself in a proper way. It's something that as a start, then the promoting organization prepare a list, and then it's over. So
okay, thank you very much.
But if someone wants to come to Italy for volunteering service, maybe Carla from the association Migrazioni Miteinander could help you and answer you better than me, because this is exactly what their organization do, help people, refugees in particular, to reach in Germany, usually through the channel of volunteering service.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Yurik. Okay, we have another one. Amina Omale. Okay, I'm sorry if I didn't say well your name. In Italy, what are the requirements to work in a position where these cases application are officially dealt with? Since so often there is room for interpretation on applying the given laws and regulation each case. Why are we working in NGOs, not in official office? What commitment does it take professionally to infiltrate the system with skilled people?
Sorry, my connection wasn't good. I missed some words. Okay.
Can you read that?
Can you read it again? Because I missed some.
Sure. Okay. She's saying that what are the requirements to work in a position where these cases application are officially dealt with? Since often there is room for interpretation on applying the given laws and regulation each case. Why are we working in NGOs, not in official office? What commitment does it take professionally to infiltrate the system with the skilled people? If I understood well,
sorry, but I'm not...
Probably she mean not in official ways. If she's online, I will allow her. Okay.
Hi.
Amina, can you hear us? Hi.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Well,
can you say again?
Yes, I can say again. I think the basic question, maybe it's rather romantic, but I'd like to hear maybe your perspective on the question, like why, in like the given context, why are so many people working in NGOs trying to like support these cases instead of working in the official positions where these cases are officially dealt with, the applications are dealt with, because so often there are there's room for interpretation on how to apply the given laws and regulations. from the EU, from Dublin, etc. Since I'm not working in law, I thought maybe you'd have a different perspective on it. In Italy, what's the requirement to like really commit to getting a position that's professionally, I gave the word infiltrating into the system, to work on cases up from an official point?
Yeah, I try to answer. I'm not really sure to have understood, but for example, on the case of Fatu that I present to you, I work in collaboration with the official authority, that is the Italian Dublin unit. I worked with them. They really helped me. Actually, they have done their best to help Fatu, and I work with them. I made the vulnerability assessment, but they helped me in sending it to the France, and yeah, I think that they've done their job. The problem is not the job of Italian unit. The problem is the relationship with France in that case. I don't know if I had partially answered your question. Maybe are you asking why all this NGO work, and it seems that no public body works on this field? Maybe was that the question?
No, I'm unsure. Is my microphone still on?
Yes.
Oh, it is. Ah,
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. It's fine. I
Okay.
guess then the question would be to somebody working in France in this specific case. So
Okay.
that's from a different point then. Thank you.
You're welcome. Did someone else want to make some other question? Okay. Nobody want to make a question. So I have a question actually, and you speak about 5 types of corridors right now, but with the situation here right now in Europe with the war in Ukraine, did it start at some other humanitarian corridors for that, or
Yeah, as I
the process of them?
Yeah, as a specific at the beginning, with this term, humanitarian corridors, I mean this project that works on the agreement between the states and this non-governmental organization. But of course, the terms humanitarian corridors means a corridor to help people to join one country from another. And in the case of Ukraine, we heard this word a lot of time, and that this is another thing is just a safe corridor to avoid the conflict and to reach, for example, to reach Poland or the neighboring country. But yeah, I mean, we call humanitarian corridor this project, but it's a term that could refer to a lot of other things. Yeah. From Ukraine, nothing of this type has been implemented because, as you probably know, all the people from Ukraine can reach Italy without a visa first, because they can, even before the war, they can reach Italy and stay in Italy for at least 90 days. So they don't need a visa to enter. And plus, from March 2022, they can apply for a temporary protection, that is a specific permit, resident permit for them, for people that are from Ukraine.
Okay, thank you. I was just curious about that. I don't know if someone else have some other question. I think nobody. So it was so short lesson, and then of course the information was like really specific.
Yeah.
But if nobody have question, I think we can end here. If you want to make some other information, nobody. Okay.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you,
that,
Lucia.
yeah, I hope it has been interesting for you. Yeah, and
Yes, of course, interesting, of course, and the information was really specific about the humanitarian corridors and the objective, and of course the difficulty of them. So it's not a lot to speak about that. They are new, not so new things. Okay, thank you everyone for being here tonight.
okay.
Thank you, Lucia, also. Thank you for your time. And for everyone is here right now, I will send you an email about the last lesson of the third module. And we inform you when the lesson will hold them. Okay, thank you so much. And have a good night, everyone. Thank you, Lucia, again. Thank you. Bye. Have a good night.